Hi! Welcome to Something to Talk About. My name is Taco. Here we discuss Game of Thrones lore, mostly Song of Ice and Fire lore. I do all kinds of stuff. And you know what? There's something I usually have underneath me, and it's not here. So there you go. That's my Twitter handle, too. All right, how's it going? My name's Taco. If you've never been here before, I do all kinds of stuff. And also do it all in one long big take. So if you wonder why there's no edits and why I say so much, because I'm lazy. I also kind of just like the improv feel, right? So, if it sounds like I'm doing it all in one long tank and I'm making a lot of mistakes, because I am. All right. Welcome to my Game of Thrones lore videos. I've been doing deep dives into characters for a while, but pretty lesser-known characters. I'm now branching out, kind of getting a little bigger ones. And I've been doing some Whitecloak, some Kingsgaurd for the winter, for the holiday season. The holiday season is pretty much over. We're now into January, but it's still winter where I am. And I might do another one after this, but I already covered Sir Aemon, the Dragon Knight, not to confuse with Aemond, one eye, Aemon. And I also covered Lucamore Strong, Lucamore the Lusty. I'm going to cover somebody from the main books. And this is kind of a character I've always liked. He doesn't have a lot going for him, but he has something in common with me. And that's the belly, the big old chub. I'm a bit of a chubby man myself. I know. I don't look at this area up. But no, if I stood up, people would be like, "Oh, jeez, it's a dad bod, yo. I got this big round belly. I look like I'm 6 months pregnant." And this character, Boros Blount, also has a little bit of a belly. So I figured I'd talk about him. Plus, it's another Kingsgaurd member, another Whitecloak, so it does follow what I've been doing. So please click like, subscribe, do all that YouTube junk. And yeah, let's get into Boros the Belly. So this is what he looks like. So he is a Kingsgaurd member for Robert Baratheon. This is throughout the main books. He's a Kingsgaurd member for Robert Baratheon and for Joffrey and Tommen all the way up. And remember, this is a book character. He's probably in the background. There's probably somebody who's like called Boros Blount in it, but they don't really get into the characters in the TV show. So in my opinion, this character wasn't in the TV show. Maybe they just named a Kingsguard member in the background Boros Blount. But yeah, so let's get into him. Boros the Belly. So Boros is an ugly man. This is how he's described, okay? I'm not trying to shame the uggo. He's an ugly man with a broad chest. He is short, with bandy legs, which I've never heard until I read this description. He has a flat nose and jowls. Bran Stark considers him bald, while Sansa notices a little bit of gray hair. So I like this artist rendition of like kind of giving him a little bit of both. Boros is short-tempered. Jaime thinks of him as an adequate fighter and never more than an ordinary knight. So he's not really an exceptional fighter, even though he's a member of the Kingsguard who should be elite fighters. He's not. He's like, okay. He's like, he was trained. Probably could still beat me. I'm just saying it. Just because he's a tubby with a sword doesn't make him Guy Lofton. Go watch my Guy Lofton video. He's my real fat knight. He's my spirit animal, Guy Lofton. All right. So he's an adequate fighter, never more than an ordinary knight. Lord Varys considers Boros to be loyal to Queen Cersei Lannister. Many characters think Boros with contempt due to the man's cowardice, because he's a bit of a coward. According to his fellow Kingsguard members, Boros visits prostitutes on the street of Silk. Specifically, what's his name? Ares Oakhart, when he's down in Dorne and he's kind of getting a little... he's soiling his white cloak down there. Not in the show, but in the books. He does bring up, like, well, Boros, visits ladies of the night all the time. As, like, kind of a way to make himself feel better because he might be hanging out with a Martell. All right, so let's talk about House Blount. Look how short this card is. Very little known is about this Crownlands house. Boros is the only notable member. Moving on. All right, so there's like a couple other Blounts here and there, but they're not notable. Even to me, like a Blount beat up Howland Reed during the tourney at Harrenhal. Not like, whoa, you know, like that's not going to be on anyone's gravestone. Well, maybe, I don't know. Howland is pretty cool, but I do like their sigil. The porcupine, I think that porcupine sigil is pretty cool. Not going to lie. All right, so let's talk about when he became a Kingsguard member. Boros appears to have joined the Kingsguard in the aftermath of Robert's Rebellion when the White Swords had several vacancies. So keep in mind, during Robert's Rebellion, there was a little thing called the Tower of Joy. And at the Tower of Joy, a bunch of White Cloaks died, right? And pretty much surviving White Cloaks were Jaime Lannister, because he was Aerys' Kingsguard member. He killed this king, and then he survived. He continued to be a Kingsguard, and Barristan Selmy, and that's kind of it. So everybody else had to be replaced, and that's when they brought in good old Bory Bounty. Sometimes I like to roll up and smoke a big Blount. You know what I'm saying? All right, I can't believe I didn't have that joke written in here. Boros took part in the tourney at Lannisport in 289 AC. In which he was defeated by the eventual champion, Sir Jorah Mormont. Yes, that one, the Lord of Bear Isle. So when Jorah, this is right after the Ironborn's rebellion, and the North were like big proponents of fighting away the Ironborn during Balon Greyjoy's rebellion. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting his name right or wrong. I'm not sure. But anyways, afterwards they had a big tourney at Lannisport, and that's when Jorah Mormont, yes, Sir Friendzone, yes, the old bear, Dany's forever crushing on Dany, and he beat a lot of people. Jorah beat Jaime Lannister in a joust. Wow, that's so crazy. And one of them was good old Bory Blount. Good old Boar. Good old Bory Blount. So let's talk about the main book. So this is kind of the first two books, I think. So and then I'm branching off because he's kind of just a background character for a while. So I'm leaving out some of the things he did, like he was around when this guy walked to this place. I didn't feel the need to add that into this, right? But like, you know, think about what Kingsguard members do. He did those when Robert Baratheon goes up to visit Ned at Winterfell. Good old Boros was with, you know, things like that. I don't have all those things added. According to Lord Varys, which I kind of already said, Boros and Meryn Trant, despite their oaths to Robert, are Queen Cersei's creatures. So that's very true. He absolutely belongs to Cersei. He's in her pocket. She picks really bad people to make her creatures. Boros does not hesitate to hit Sansa at the order of King Joffrey. So when Joffrey becomes king and he's like, hey, beat up my betrothed, he's one of the guys who's like, well, King said it, wham! And I know he took an oath to follow his king. I get that. And also, he's beating up a little girl. I get that. I'm not going to defend him. I'm going to defend. Instead, I'm going to say that system is horrible. No man, period, I don't care who, should have to follow anyone's orders to a T ever. I'm sorry. I'm not for ownership of people, even if it was an oath. If my boss at work, who I do what he says most days, if he was like, punch that girl, I'd be like, no. And even if he was like, well, you took an oath, I'm like, fire me. But he can't do that because he took this dumb oath. So it's the whole system is garbage. Moving on. Sorry to get that heavy. This is the show. That's heavy. Hitting Sansa? That sucks. All right. So after learning that Robb was declared king of the North, that's when he punched, when Joffrey orders him. Sansa considers him the worst member of the Kingsguard, and Tyrion intervenes when Joffrey orders Boros to strip Sansa, I'm not going to say all this, and beat her bloody after hearing about the Battle of Oxcross. You can read it. I don't like saying those words out loud. I'm a dad. I have a daughter. It makes me uncomfortable. A lot of these books make me uncomfortable. All right. Boros survives the riots of King's Landing, and when the royal procession is attacked, returning to the Red Keep after seeing Marcella Baratheon off the door, Boros is reluctant to follow Cersei's command to find Sansa in the turmoil, but Sandor Clegane, the good old hound, ends up returning the girl to the castle. So the hound goes to the rescue of Sansa, and Boros is like, I'm going out there. Good old Boros. What an ass. So he is losing and regaining his cloak. So concerned for the safety of her younger son, so this is when Tommen's just prince and Joffrey's still alive. So this is getting into the second season in second book. During the War of the Five Kings, Cersei tasked Boros and Lord Giles Rosby with the secretly bringing Tommen to from the unruly capital to the safety of Rosby, which is somewhere else in the Crown Lands. Sir Lancel Lannister informs Tyrion because he's a snitch. However, the acting hand orders Sir Jacelyn Bywater, commander of the City Watch. I might do one on a good old Iron Hand or whatever they call him, Jacelyn Bywater. He's a cool character. I might cover him at some point. Commander of the City Watch in King's Landing to take Tommen into custody before the boy reaches Rosby. While Jacelyn's gold cloak stop Ryle's retinue. I had to look up that word on the road. Boros surrenders Tommen without a fight, so he does not defend his prince. Tommen is watched over by Rosby men loyal to Tyrion. And Boros is imprisoned at the castle dungeon. Livid at Boros' cowardice, Cersei has King Joffrey strip him of his white cloak, and Osmond Kettleblack replaces Boros on the Kingsguard. I might also cover the Kettleblacks. It's very freaking possible. I might just do a video of all the Kettleblacks, all three of them. 4 of them. Their Kettleblacks are great. Replaces Boros and the Kingsguard. After Sir Jacelyn Bywater dies, spoilers, in the Battle of the Blackwater, Cersei sends the Kettleblacks to recover Tommen from Rosby. Boros is reinstated on Kingsguard by Lord Tywin Lannister upon the return when he becomes Hand of the King, when he returns to King's Landing, to fill the vacancy left by Sandor Clegane when the Hound deserts during the Blackwater. I love that scene, right? I mean, that's one of those scenes in the show that's so good. Is fuck the king. Fuck the Kingsguard. Yeah! Sandor. You beautiful, ugly man. Food taster and the butt of jokes. Sir Jaime Lannister, the one-handed Lord Commander of the Kingsguard now, makes Boros official food taster of the new king, Tommen I. During a meeting in the White Sword Tower, Boros is enraged at this and states to Jaime that states that Jaime should be the food taster since he lost his sword hand. When Jaime states that they could duel if Boros is unhappy, Boros spits at Jaime's feet and leaves the room angrily. I put money on the left-handed Jaime over Sir Boros. Yeah, even Jaime Lannister without a sword hand could still probably beat Boros Blount. All right? So get all mad. And plus, food taster. It's a little humiliating, but, I mean, he's a big guy anyways, right? Might as well, eat some. Boros and Sir Osmond Kettleblack bring the news of Tywin's death to Queen Cersei. Boros learns that Tyrion Lannister disappeared from the Black Cells. Boros and Osmond are ordered by Cersei to murder the 2 turnkeys who fell asleep during Tyrion's escape. They are later reprimanded by Sir Jaime Lannister for mindlessly killing the only 2 leads. Yeah, that's a really cool part in the later books when Jaime's kind of becomes a detective trying to all right, what happened here? Who let him out? So on and so forth, which he kind of knows. But like they're still trying, like, and Jaime's trying to figure out, and they just straight up murder the two leads. I mean, of course, Jaime knows who let him out. I mean, Jaime kind of did. but yeah, I do kind of like, it's like, those two people are asleep. Should we question them? Nah, just kill them. All right, it's got a bad police work, but whatever you say there, Queenie. Cersei, when she frames Marjorie for treason, plans on Boros being the only Kingsguard available if Marjorie asks for a trial by combat. Ooh. And Cersei believes Boros would be no match for any champion named by the Fate of the Seven. Right? When Cersei inquires about his fighting skills, she is assured by Osmond that Boros is an inept fighter. Oh. I know. Why'd you pick him and Meryn Trant to be your, like, creatures on the Kingsguard? How come you're not bribing some of the good fighters on the Kingsguard? Not that there was a lot. I guess Ares Oakheart, but maybe he wouldn't accept the bribe. It's kind of awesome. I love Ares Oakheart. I don't think I'll do a video on Ares Oakheart. He is literally a POV character, and I don't think I'm going to cover any POV characters. But he is awesome. All right. Let's talk about all right, so to finish off the story, of course, this is before Robert Strong / the zombie mountain gets, introduced as most likely being her champion. So for a while, she's like, oh no, is Boros Blount going to have to fight for me? All right, let's talk about his name, the real meaning of Boros, where that name comes from, and White King symbol or White Knight symbolism. So Boros is actually Hungarian from the word Boros, meaning tipsy or drunk. It's a derivative of bor, meaning wine. Hence the nickname for a heavy drinker, or in some rare cases, I can't even say that, metonymic occupational name for a wine merchant or a wine producer. So it means drunk guy. That's kind of funny. They don't ever talk about him being drunk. Just like just a fat idiot more than a drunk. But in the books, there are lots of examples of Kingsguard and White Walkers, also known as the Others, being described similarly. So David Lightbringer made a great video about this, and I highly suggest it. I highly suggest that video. So I think it is just called Kingsguard Symbolism, but look it up, David Lightbringer. I'll put it in the description. All right. I love. He used to be called Lucifer Means Lightbringer. David Lightbringer. He's one of the reasons why I got heavy into the lore to begin with. He's really good at what he does, and I'm not going to retread any of this. I'm not going to copy any of his work. I just got tiny little examples specifically for Boros. But go watch his stuff, because he's not talking about Boros specifically, but he is talking about a lot of the similar language used to describe Kingsguard and White Walkers / the Others. I got small examples, but language like white shadows and cold, dead eyes. So like zombie and undead language and white language, and then being silent, kind of a lot of the same words being used for others. But specifically for Sir Boros, what I could find is that Cersei thinks he looks very gray when he stands guard outside of the small council chambers. And I did think that kind of sounded undead zombie-like him looking gray. And there was another thing of him looking in poor health, but I didn't really think that meant White Walker. I think that's more of maybe somebody's trying to poison Tommen or something, and he's eaten. Because there is a scene towards the end of Dance of Dragons where he's watching over Cersei eating with Kevin Lannister, and he's like, leaning up against the wall, and no one's like, how come the food taster's acting like that? No one's freaking out. Anyways, so that's my Boros Blount. I covered probably two of the best Kingsguard members already. Aemon the Dragon Knight's definitely the best Kingsguard member of all time. Versus Homie's probably up there. Sir Arthur Dayne when it comes to fighting skills, at least. And Lucamore Strong was one of the best fighters, but of course he ended up breaking his oaths. So, but then I covered this guy. He's like the worst example. And I think that's really important. I think you need to look at how this was also a political job, right? The Blounts had nothing, and then he took it so the Blounts can be notable. You know, if people remember, to win glory for his house was political. And maybe the Blounts did something, maybe it was a favor. I don't know what Robert Baratheon was doing when he named him. We don't know anything about it, but it's these lickspittles is what, they're always called in the books, and these kiss asses is what that word means, that work their way up, and it's less about fighting skills or nobility or anything like that. And that's 100% true. Boros Blount is the worst of them. Even Meryn Trent's considered to be a better fighter. He's a complete monster in the book or in the show, but in the books he's just kind of an idiot. But he's not considered a horrible fighter in the books, at least not that I've seen. There was actually a debate on that. I did do a short on House Trant, so if you want to check out one of my Game of Thrones shorts, my lore shorts. Okay, there you guys go. My lore shorts. My name was Taco. Do all that YouTube stuff, and if there's any character lesser known, not really in any of the shows, anything like that, not a POV character, let me know and I can cover them. So, yeah, that's all I got. Watch any of the things popping up right now. I got a bunch of different shorts on my channel. I'm trying to do one every day, but I do work a full-time job in a factory, and I'm a husband and a father, so it's not really easy for me to do it, but I'm working really hard at trying to keep out those 1-minute shorts. So go check them out. They're just mostly on little houses that are lesser known and less talked about. So that was my Sir Boros Blount, and we'll see who I cover next. It might be another Kingsgaurd member. I haven't decided yet. So, yeah. Thank you for watching.